Good morning, students. Welcome to our online lecture. Today we will start social science. This is for cbse. Today we will start economics in your social science, chapter 1, the story of village Palampur. First, let us read the overview. Overview. The purpose of the story is to introduce some basic concepts relating to production, and this we do through a story of hypothetical village called Palampur. Palampur, it is not a real village, imaginary village we can say. We assume there is a village of that name, that is known as hypothetical. So how production is done, that we have to understand as we are learning economics. Farming is the main activity in Palampur as it is a village, and you know in India village mostly agriculture is done. So farming is the main activity there. Whereas several other activities such as small scale manufacturing, dairy, transport, etc. are carried out on a limited scale. On major scale, mostly it is done what is done? Farming. But there are also small scale work, that is manufacturing. Then manufacturing means production of some things at low level. Dairy means milk products. Transport, etc. are carried out on a limited scale, not at a large scale. These production activities need various types of resources. But how is production done? For that, there are some resources that are needed. Example, natural resources that are available in nature, man-made items, human effort, money, machinery, etc. As we read through the story of Palampur, we will learn how various resources combine to produce the desired goods and services in the village. So, as we go through the chapter, we will understand how production is done in Palampur. Introduction. Palampur is well connected with neighboring villages and towns. It is well connected. Hence, people can easily go through from there to other villages and towns. Raiganj, a big village, is 3 kilometers from Palampur. Raiganj, it is a big village and it is 3 kilometers away from Palampur. An all-weather road means which can be durable, or on which we can say uh, it is used in all the weatherproof we can say, or usable in any type of weather. Such road is there which connects the village to Raiganj and further on to the nearest small town of Shahpur. So it connects to the small town of Shahpur also. Many kinds of transport are visible on this road, starting from bullock carts. Which type of transport or which type of vehicles are there? Bullock carts are there, tongas driven by horses, that carts are there, bogies, wooden carts drawn by buffaloes are there, loaded with jaggery means good, and other commodities, to motor vehicles. Like these are the traditional transport things and vehicles, and other modern vehicles like motorcycles, jeeps, tractors, and trucks are also seen on the road. This village has about 450 families belonging to several different castes. There are in all 450 families belonging to several different castes. The 80 upper caste families own the majority of the land in the village. Now 80 upper caste families out of 450, 80 upper caste families are there, and majority of the land is owned by them. Their houses, some of them quite large, they have big houses, very good houses, are made of brick, means pakka house, with cement plastering. The SCs, scheduled castes, Dalits, comprise one third of the population. They are one third of the population, means 150 families are there almost, and live in one corner of the village. As you have studied in history, Shudras were not allowed to live in the village, so they are also Shudras or Dalits, so they have to live in one corner of the village and in much smaller houses, some of which are of mud and straw. Kacha house, as you have studied, it is made of mud and straw and bamboos like things, but it is not a pakka house. Most of the houses have Now you can see on the road the tractor is there, bullock cart is there, all weather road is shown passing through a field. Scene of a village it is. Picture 1.1. Most of the houses have electric connections. There is power supply. Electricity powers all the tube wells in the fields. Tube wells to take out water from the well. Tube wells are needed. They are there, and electricity powers all the tube wells and is used in various types of small business, and electricity is used in various types of small business also. Palampur has two primary schools and one high school. There is a primary health center run by the government and one private dispensary where the sick are treated. So this is the scene of the village and what the village consists. It has schools, it has transport facilities, all weather road, some 80 well-to-do families are there, Dalits are also there, government hospital or primary health center is also there, private dispensary is also there where the sick are treated. The description above shows that Palampur has fairly well developed system of roads, transport, electricity, irrigation, schools and health center. Same thing it is repeated. Well developed system of roads is there, transport facilities there, electricity, power supply is there, irrigation. Irrigation means the water supply given to the farms or agriculture need. Schools and health center are also there. Compare these facilities with those in your nearby village. Are these facilities available in your nearby village? It is told to compare. The story of Palampur, an imaginary village, hypothetical what we told, will take us through different types of production activities in the village. Which types of productions are done? In villages across India, farming is the main production activity, as I have already told you. The other production activities referred to as non-farming activities include. Now, which are the other activities apart from agriculture or cultivation? Small manufacturing, transport, shopkeeping, etc. We shall take a look at both these types of activities after learning a few general things about production. But first we have to learn what is production, how it is done. Now, at the end you can see the note. The narrative is partly based on a research study by Gilbert Attini of a village in Bulandshahr district in western Uttar Pradesh. So this is a story of a village in Bulandshahr district in western Uttar Pradesh. Let us move on to next page. Organization of production. The aim of production is to produce the goods and services that we want. Production is done for our needs and goods and services are produced what we want. There are four requirements for production of goods and services. But basically there are four requirements for production of goods and services. The first requirement is land and other natural resources such as water, forests, minerals, etc. The second requirement is labor, physical work. This is people who will do the work, labor. Some production activities require highly educated workers to perform the necessary tasks. Some activities require skilled labor, some require unskilled labor. Other activities require workers who can do manual work, that is unskilled labor. Each worker is providing the labor necessary for production, and both the types of worker provide some or the other labor necessary for production. The third requirement is physical capital, which we can see, that is the variety of inputs required at every stage during production. Who will provide the money, buildings, etc. They are known as physical capital. What are the items that come under physical capital? Let us see the list in detail. A. Tools, machines, buildings. Tools, instruments for production, then machines and buildings for factories. and industries. And machines range from very simple tools such as a farmer's plow to sophisticated, means complicated or complex or huge machines such as generators, turbines, computers, etc. Generators, they are power supply in the times of electricity failure. Turbine, what is turbine? It is, you can say, just it is like a fan. It is a machine having rotor with blades driven by pressure. In submarines, etc., submarine at the face, you can see there are turbines. Tools, machines, buildings can be used in production over many years. They are not worn up or they are not used up. They can be used for many years, and therefore they are called fixed capital. So this is the fixed capital. B, raw materials and money in hand. Now see, raw material, it will be used up in the things, and money will also be used up, which is in hand. So they are known as working capital. Production requires a variety of raw materials such as the yarn used by the weaver and the clay used by the potter. Also, some money is always required during production to make payments and buy other necessary items. So, these things, raw materials and money in hand, and they are called working capital. Unlike tools, machines, and buildings, they are used up in production. This working capital is used up in production. There is a fourth requirement too. Now you will wonder, what is this fourth requirement? You will need knowledge and enterprise. A businessman is needed with his knowledge, with his entrepreneurial skills here to administrate all these things, to manage all these things, to be able to put together how to get the work done through land, labor, and to invest physical capital and produce an output either to use yourself or to sell in the market. These days it is called human capital. We shall learn more about human capital in the next chapter. So, businessman, entrepreneur, these are called the human capital. In the picture, identify the land, labor, and fixed capital used in production. So, picture is given here to see what is land, then labor, then capital. These things you have to divide among the picture. A factory with several laborers and machines. It is picture 1.2. Every production is organized by combining land, labor, physical capital, and human capital. A production activity combines all these things, which are known as factors of production. So, these four are known as factors of production. As we read through the story of Palampur, we will learn more about the first three factors of production. For convenience, means for comfortability of yours, we will refer to the physical capital as capital in this chapter. Not to get confused, capital and physical capital, we will use the word capital. Physical, we refer to the physical capital as capital. So, capital means also physical capital. Now, first, farming in Palampur. Land is fixed. As you know, land cannot be increased. Farming is the main production activity in Palampur. 75% of the people who are working are dependent on farming for their livelihood, means for their earning or income to run their family. They could be farmers or farm laborers. The well-being of these people is closely related to production on the farms. So 75% of the people are dependent on agriculture and farms. But remember, there is a basic constant. Constant means restriction or limitation in raising farm production. There is a limitation. We cannot produce whatever we want and how much we want. Land area under cultivation is practically fixed. Land cannot be increased. Production therefore is limited. Since 1916 Palampur, there has been no expansion in land area under cultivation. So land area under cultivation is same as it is since 1960. It has not been increased. By then, some of the wastelands in the village had been converted to cultivable land, but afterwards wastelands where cultivation was not done, such wastelands were there, they were converted to cultivable land, means agriculture was possible now. There exists no further scope to increase farm production by bringing new land under cultivation. So previously wastelands were there, but now they are also converted into cultivable lands. Now there is no further scope, means no new land can be brought under cultivation. The standard unit of measuring land is hectare. What is a hectare? It is 10,000 square meters or 2.5 acres approximately. 10,000 square meters. Though in the villages you may find land area being discussed in local units such as, now other terms used in our traditional language or Indians by Indians is biga, gunta, etc. 1 hectare equals the area of a square with one side measuring 100. So 100 square, that is 10,000 square meters. Can you compare the area of 1 hectare field with the area of your school ground? It is just to compare how big your ground is in comparison to 1 hectare. Second point, is there a way one can grow more from the same land? Land is limited, so can the production be increased or crops can be grown more from the same land? Let us see. In the kind of crops grown and facilities available, Palampur would resemble a village of the western part of the state of Uttar Pradesh. I have already told you, or on the in the note you have already read, it is from the western part of the state of Uttar Pradesh. All land is cultivated in Palampur. No land is unused or left out of cultivation. No land is left idle. During the rainy season, Kharif farmers grow. Kharif crops are grown during rainy season. Now rainy season is there. So which crops, type of crops will be grown? Kharif crops. What will be grown? Jowar and Bajra. These plants are used as cattle feed. They are used as cattle feed. It is used for animals and birds. It is followed by cultivation of potato. Then potato is grown between October and December. And in the winter season, rabi crops. Fields are sown with wheat. From the wheat produced, farmers keep enough wheat for the family's consumption and sell the surplus wheat at the market at Raiganj. Whatever is needed for the family, stock is done and kept aside, and then whatever is not needed or it is surplus, it is sold at the market, in the market at Raiganj. A part of the land area is also devoted to sugarcane. Some part is used for sugarcane growing, which is harvested once every year. Now, harvested once every year, harvesting means to cut the grown crops. Sugarcane in its raw form, or sugarcane as it is, or as jaggery after process, jaggery, good. It is turned into good, sold to traders in Shahpur. The main reason why farmers are able to grow three different crops in a year in Palampur, why they can grow three crops, mostly farmers grow two crops, but why Palampur village can go this farmers in Palampur village can grow three crops? It is due to the well developed system of irrigation. Water facility is good. Water is provided through irrigation. Electricity came nearly to Palampur. Electricity, power supply is also there. Its major impact. Now, what was the effect of power supply or electricity? Was to transform the system of irrigation. The traditional methods of farming or irrigation were changed to modern techniques. Persian wheels were till then, Persian wheels, चक्केड़ा जीव होए छे, एक चक्कर जैसा होता है. हिस्ट्री में भी तुमने पढ़ा होगा पर्शियन व्हील्स के बारे में. तो कुएं में से पानी निकालने के लिए बुलॉक्स वगैरह चलाए जाते हैं और उनके द्वारा खींचा जाता है, तो वो गोल गोल घूमता जाता है और उसमें से पानी निकाला जाता है. Used by farmers to draw water from the wells and irrigate small fields. So Persian wheels were used before electricity reached there. People saw that the electric run tube wells could irrigate much larger areas of land more effectively. So, more areas, larger areas, as water was available more areas could be brought under cultivation effectively. The first few tube wells were installed by the government. At the initial stages in the beginning, government invested and installed the tube wells for farming. Soon, however, farmers started setting up private tube wells, but as they became wealthy or their income increased, farmers also started setting up private tube wells. As a result, by mid 1970s, the entire cultivated area of 200 hectares was irrigated. So by the mid 1970s, entire cultivated area of 200 hectares was irrigated. Farming agriculture was possible due to irrigation. Not all villages in India have such high levels of irrigation. This development is not there in all the villages. There are backward villages. Apart from the riverine plains, coastal regions in our country are well irrigated. Which, which areas have well irrigation facilities? Those river side areas, coastal regions, and riverine plains have well irrigation facilities. In contrast, but in contrast means which areas do not have these facilities. Plateau regions which are higher than the normal land, such as the Deccan Plateau in Maharashtra, have low levels of irrigation because the land is at a higher level. Of the total cultivated area in the country, total 100% cultivation area of the country, less than 40% is irrigated even today. 40% is irrigated, 60% does not have irrigation facilities. In the remaining areas, 60% remaining areas, farming is largely dependent on rainfall. To grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the year is known as multiple cropping. What is multiple cropping? To grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the year, it is known as multiple cropping. It is the most common way of increasing production on a given piece of land. It is the most common method. Mostly three crops are taken in a year. All farmers in Palampur grow at least two main crops. Many are growing potato as the third crop in the past 15 to 20 years. Now figures are given: wheat, bajra, sugarcane and potato. Different crops. Picture 1.3. Let's discuss. The following table 1.1 shows the land under cultivation in India in units of million hectares. Plot this on the graph provided. What does the graph show? Discuss in class. So as you do graph work, graph paper work, or solve the graph problems in maths, you have to prepare the chart given, the table given on the graph. Cultivated area over the years. Year, then cultivated area in million hectares it is given. 1950 to 51, 129, 1991, 157 hectares, million year hectares, 2000, 2001, 156, 2010, 11, 156, 2011, 12, 156, 2012, 13, 155, 2013, 14, 156 and 2014, 15, 155. P means provisional data. Provisional data means provision. It is that this much may be grown. Source: Pocketbook of Agriculture Statistics 2017, Directorate of Economics and Statistics, Department of Agriculture, Cooperation and Farmers Welfare. You can see how it is plotted on the graph. So constant from 1990-91 to 2014-15, it is shown as constant cultivation or constant agriculture. Is it important to increase the area under irrigation? Why? Is it important to increase the area under irrigation? Why? Question is asked, you have to answer. You have read about the crops grown in Palampur. Now you know crops are grown in Palampur. Fill the following table based on information on the crops grown in your region. You have seen that one way of increasing production from the same land is by multiple cropping. You know multiple cropping now. At least 3 crops are grown in a year. That is known as multiple cropping. The other way is to use modern farming methods. The multiple cropping and the other method is using modern farming techniques or methods. This table is for your activity. You may be able to do it. If you are not able to do it, then okay. For higher yield, yield means production. Yield is measured as crop produced on a given piece of land during a single season. Yield means on a given piece of land during a single season, the crop which is produced is known as yield. Till the mid 1960s, the seeds used in cultivation were traditional ones. We know that after 1960, the things changed, modern things were adopted. So, till 1960, traditional techniques were used with relatively low yields, but they yielded low. The production was low, agriculture production was low. Traditional seeds needed less irrigation. Less water was needed for irrigation in traditional seeds. Farmer used now which fertilizers were used? Cow dung, gobar, and other natural manure as fertilizers. What is fertilizer? It increases the production. All these were readily available with the farmers who did not have to buy them. As cattle was with them, this natural manure, cow dung, etc. was available with them. So no need to buy from the market. They did not have to put extra money for that. The Green Revolution in the late 1960s introduced the Indian farmer to cultivation of wheat and rice using high yielding varieties, HYVs of seeds. High yielding means producing high, production is high compared to the traditional seeds. The HYV seeds promise to produce much greater amounts of grain on a single plant. So production increased as on a single plant more grain was grown. As a result, the same piece of land would now produce far larger quantities of food grains than was possible earlier. So production increased automatically through HYVs. HYV seeds, however, needed plenty of water and also chemical fertilizers. They needed more water and also chemical fertilizers. Traditional fertilizers and manure did not work. Now you can see HYV seeds, fertilizers, farm machinery, modern farming methods are given. Irrigation, pesticides, canals, pump sets, electricity, dams. These are the modern farming methods. HYV seeds, chemical fertilizers, etc. It is given. Pesticides, what is pesticides? That the crop is not damaged by the pests. Today you see locust attack is there. टिड्डी टिड्डियों का हमला हो रहा है, सब जगह पे खेती बाड़ी नष्ट हो रही है, खा जाते हैं टिड्डी, टिड्डी दल जो है वो खा जाता है. सो पेस्टिसाइड्स आर नीडेड टू प्रोड्यूस बेस्ट रिजल्ट्स, बट दैट इज़ अ डिफरेंट थिंग. Normally there are pests which are there on the crop. So to kill them, to keep the crop safe from them, pesticides are needed, but they are harmful for our body. Higher yields were possible only from a combination of HYV seeds, irrigation, chemical fertilizers, pesticides, etc. Farmers of Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh were the first to try out the modern farming method in India. Question is asked, who used modern farming methods for the first time? They are farmers of Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh. The farmers in these regions set up tube wells for irrigation and made use of HIV seeds, as we have seen, which things were used for modern farming methods, chemical fertilizers and pesticides in farming. Same thing is repeated. Some of them bought farm machinery. Now big machineries like tractors, threshers. What is thresher? To cut the crop and to take out the grain. Thresher is used, which made ploughing and harvesting, means cutting of the crop, faster. They were rewarded with high yields of wheat. So production increased at a very fast rate. In Palampur, the yield of wheat grown from the traditional varieties was 1300 kg per hectare. With HIV seeds, the yield went up to 3200 kg per hectare. 2.5 times more, we can say, the yield increase. There was a large increase in the production of wheat. Farmers now had greater amounts of surplus wheat to sell in the markets. Now they had to wheat for their own use, plus you can see it increased 2.5 times. So surplus was there. With that, extra income can be done by selling it in the market. Let's discuss what is the difference between multiple cropping and modern farming method. The following table shows the production of wheat and pulses in India after the green revolution in units of million tons. Plot this on a graph. Was the green revolution equally successful for both the crops? Discuss what is the working capital required by the farmer using modern farming methods. Table 1.2 shows production of pulses. Pulses means dale and wheat in million tons. You can read the table, go through the table. Source: Department of Agriculture, Cooperation and Farmers Welfare, as on February 2018. Modern farming methods require the farmer to start with more cash than before. Why? Modern farming methods require more cash. Why? Suggested activities there. You can do this during your field visit. Talk to some farmers of your region. So activities we carry out, we have to go to a farm and talk to some farmers. We have to ask the questions like what kind of farming methods, modern or traditional or mixed, do the farmers use. You have to note it down. Second question, what are the sources of irrigation. Third, how much of the cultivated land is irrigated. Very little, nearly half, majority, all. These are the options available for the answer. Fourth, from where do farmers obtain the inputs that they require, the things that they require for production. Students, we will stop here today and continue in the next lecture. So please do this, go through the lecture very nicely again and again. Economics, you know, it is a new subject for you, but your future is dependent on economics. The better you understand, the better it is for you. You will live good life if you understand economics well. History, it is a past, it is only just to experience what happened in the past, to know. Then geography, it is related to the earth, which will not be very useful. Then third part of essays is civics, that is citizens responsibilities and duties, and what are facilities are given, like that politics is there. But the thing which will be useful for you, the subject which will be useful for you is economics. The more you understand, the better it will be for you. It will be discussed later, but the activity or the homework is that you should prepare at least 15 objectives from this, as fill in the blanks, true or false, match A with B, one word answers, like this. This will be your homework during every lecture. So if 3 lectures are there, at least 40 to 50 objective type questions you have to prepare in the end. Big answers or brief answers, short answers will also be given, but at least you should prepare this much. Hope you understood. Take care of you, yourself and your family. Have a nice day. Bye. Thank you.